Okay, welcome back everyone. Tonight I'm going to circle back to material design in Xaml. The last couple of weeks I was off playing on the system command line library. You can check out the previous recordings if you're interested in that, working on the help output. But the pull request for that is now open. There's probably a little bit more cleanup to do, but I wanted to get it open to get feedback and get that rolling. So tonight, after the day I've had, I figured I would circle back and I would do more material design in XAML work, which was sort of where I was hoping to land. So I had a couple thoughts on where to go, and the most obvious one, let's flip over here to the code, is icons. So let's fire this up and I'll explain what I mean. So I've been trying to think through what are the biggest pain points that at least I run into while building apps with this library. And I've done a little bit of work in the past to try to smooth over the common pitfalls where you haven't included all of the right resource dictionaries in your app.xaml or setting up the style in your base window and that kind of thing. But the next problem that I typically run into is in a brand new WPF app, you have to set this little icon file. And icon files are kind of a pain in the neck to build. And I got to thinking a little bit that it might be nice if rather than being forced to go through and come up with your own icon file, if you could come over to this icon pack file here, right? Because we've already got this nice little option for, find the icon that you're looking for, right? You can search through. There's way too many icons in here, right? All the ones from the material design library. But in addition to this copy to clipboard, it might be nice if there was an option to export these icons as export these icons as an ICO file, right? And maybe more importantly, slap a little color on there, and bippity boppity, away you go. So what is that going to take? So this is one thing that shocks me. So the icon file format itself is fairly simple and straightforward, and we'll just grab this guy here. So if anybody's interested, there's a few things here, and there's some key details in this whole format bit here, right? The format itself is fairly simple. There's a header. You then write a bunch of image entries. This is the spec for your image entries, and you just dump out the data. And I've been poking around to see to try to find reasonable libraries to work with this, and there's a few things that I've run into. So the icon object that lives in the system drawing namespace doesn't allow for creation of ICO files at multiple resolutions. So typically with an ICO file, let's see, and I believe we can just go in here. I didn't actually check this ahead of time, so we're going to find out. Nope, this has just got a single resolution. But the key thing to note is this can be filled with a whole bunch of resolutions, right? And so my thought is, why not go through and do this? And one of the things that really, really frustrates me is there's quite a few libraries that if you feed it an SVG file, it will rasterize the SVG file once at like the largest resolution and then resize that rather than re-rasterizing the SVG. So what does that mean, right? So an SVG is a scalar image. So rather than encoding every pixel at what it's supposed to be, what it does is it encodes effectively, you can imagine like the equation of a line, right? Y equals mx plus b. You could encode that equation, or you could encode every single pixel. But by encoding the equation, you can then scale that up and down to whatever size you need. That's effectively the underlying principle on how vector art works with SVGs and why they're preferable, because they can scale to different resolutions nicely and they don't pixelate and that kind of thing. So ideally, what I'd love to do is to get something like that put in. And I was trying to poke around a little bit before the stream started to see if there was a C# on to see if there's a nice C# library thing for manipulating it, and this is probably one of the closest ones I've seen. It seems pretty simple and straightforward. And so we may just take a crack at this and see how this goes, because I think this would be a nice little addition to come in. And in general, we've resisted taking additional dependencies in the library, but this is going to be in the demo app, right? So one more thing to make the demo app just a little bit cooler, right? And if this works, maybe we'll submit a pull request to the Ma Apps icon library, because they've got a pretty cool icon library too, and it would just make it that much better. So let's take a crack at this and see what it's going to take. So, because what I'm imagining is we slap something in down here, perhaps. So after you've selected one, you can click something, because I imagine you click something here, check a box for the various resolutions that you might want, and then from there, I think you just that and a color picker. Do we need anything else? I think that's about it. So let's see. Let's actually use this library to build something today. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking we're gonna do. We're gonna build something. Okay. So step one. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna get on my master branch, and we're going to jump over here, create branch, ICO generator. Great. And off to the races we go. Okay, so let's come down here, iconpack.xaml. So this is the XAML for that UI. So we've got our list box, and then this is the part down at the bottom. So we've got our color zone, stack panel, text box, color zone, pack icon, button. And so we probably want to go just to the right of the button. And I'm sort of thinking that what we end up doing here is, and I'm going to actually control F5, because I'd like to use the demo app to build the demo app. I'm sort of thinking a simple pop-up box. So, pop-up are under buttons, right? So I'm kind of picturing one of these kind of thingies here, right? Where you get your icon set, you've got some sort of checkbox list for sizes, right? And then a generate button that pops a save dialog, and off to the races you go. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that. So let's just grab this. So I kind of want to grab, here's the pop-up box in all its glory. Let's just grab all of that, and we'll come back over here, and we'll just slap that guy in. Okay, so that's a lot of stuff, and we don't want a lot of it, but that at least gets us going. So first off, we want stays open true. We don't need the enabled flag. Put that back. We'll build that out. Okay, so we probably do want a grid. We probably do want the grid to have a fixed width. And that 300 looked good for now. We don't care about resources in the grid for now, so we'll get rid of that. Column definitions and row definitions, I think I'm just going to whack for now until we figure out what we want. And then I think all of the content in here I can probably just get rid of, because ultimately I'm just looking to have sort of a blank grid to play with. So all of you, yeah, so all of this goes away. Okay, so then if we come back over here, oh, we aren't debugging, so I don't have access to that. Okay, so inside of this grid, what all do we need? So at the bottom, actually, I guess I do realize I do want something. I kind of want those save buttons at the bottom. So let's leave the stack panel down there for now, and then we will get rid of this, because I kind of want to keep the save button. We're going to redo the way that works. Get rid of you. Get rid of all this. So we'll keep the save button. We'll unbind the command because that's not what we want. We will format this because that copy and paste did not do me any favors. And get rid of that. Get rid of that. There. Now we're talking. Now we're back down to something same. So inside of here, we're going to have a selected button. We probably want to grab let's see. So pack icon kind. Let's see. This is bound. So this will be our enum. So let's go through and we can just leverage that a little bit, because I'm sort of thinking that I probably want this thing here again. So I'm thinking I'm going to have the icon at the top. And I realize I haven't set up my grid yet, so we'll do that in a minute. Yeah, that's fine. Vertical alignment center isn't going to matter because I'm sort of picturing a hierarchy here. I'm kind of envisioning, because our color picker. Let's look at our color picker. Where did this guy go? So we have, let's see. What is it called? We have a pretty color picker. Palette? No. It's not under pickers. It's under the the theming stuff. Home, buttons, cards, color tool. There we go. Make this a little bigger. We've got this custom one here. This is more the one that I was hoping to bring in, right? Let something change about this here, because I'm also thinking that you probably, like, there's two colors in question that you might want to set: the foreground and the background. Might allow for changing both. That would seem reasonable, right? The only thing that's weird is this color picker doesn't allow for alpha. Let's look. I don't remember the support for alpha. In here. PNG format. 32 bits of color depth. I'm sort of thinking that other one probably works. So we can get away with this. There are a few notes here about like backwards compatibility, like PNG format only being introduced in Windows Vista. This library doesn't support stuff older than that, so I don't care. Meh. We'll use all the things. Yeah, let's just bring in a color picker like this for now. We'll worry about transparency later. So let's go and get. So I guess that's the other thing. So I want to have the pack icon here. I probably want to have some sort of color picker with a couple radio buttons, right? So I'm going to want a radio button with content, so something like foreground, right? And then I'm going to want to have something that has background, and then we probably want, let's see, if we go to the color tool here, right? And really I want to grab no, I want to come down here into this. Yeah, this is what we want, is the color picker. So we want to bring in a color picker, and we don't really need an X name. We're going to need to bind this to something. I just don't know what yet, and we don't know what we're going to do with the grid column. So we're going to do something there. And then I think the last thing we need is a list of sizes. Yeah, I think what I kind of want to do is just have, like, because in general you probably want all the things and be done with it. So what is the, hang on, I think in paint.net I installed an extension that does ICOs. File, save as, and I'm pretty sure if I just pick ICO from here, save, it pops a funky thing for me. thought it had a fun dialogue to say, what size do you want? Oh, it does. It does. Just put it on the other screen. So these sort of thing here. I'm kind of wondering if we need to support 8-bit for anything. Like, I realize there's backwards compatibility deals with it, but I think everything we do can be 64-bit. Let's see, does this library even support? Because if this library doesn't support setting the bitmap icon image, so let's bitmap icon image. Do you even allow setting that, or are you just going to control it? Format bits per pixel. So it's going to largely control it for me. I think we just do resolutions. And you'll note all of these are basically powers of 2. So 16, 24, 32, 48, 64, 128. And that is saying 256 is, I wonder if there is a let's see, 256. I don't know if there's going to be any obvious. Let's see, 256 color was the default, so that's 8-bit, blah, blah, blah. Let's see, thus a single, it could store images of any size from 1 pixel up to 256 pixels. Oh, the notification was, oh, until Windows ME. Again, I don't care to support those. 32-bit color, we're going to assume everybody's running like a supported version of Windows for this, and go from there. Yeah, so I think we can just do the 32-bit all the way, and we'll just, so here's what I'm thinking. I kind of wish I could screenshot this list. Let's just write it down real quick. We'll write it down real quick. We'll make a quick note. So everybody's favorite note-taking app, Visual Studio Code, obviously. So let's see, 256, 128. Let's see, 64, 48. Was it 32, 24, 16? Yeah, so 32, 24, 16. Okay, so those will be all the resolutions we do. And I think what we're going to do, just put this to the side, is I'm kind of envisioning something like an expander, right? And I'm sort of picturing something akin to, so let's see, a stack panel. Let's see, how about we just do checkbox content 256 by 256, right? So we're going to do something like that. And actually, you know what we're going to do? Come over here to VS Code. We're going to go search, let's see, dot star, turn on regex. We're going to come down here. We're going to paste this. We're going to say, let's see, $1 by $1. That isn't it. What is the regex match group? Is it 0 to give me the whole thing? There we are. That's what I want. Boom. And now, just like that, I have converted my list into there. So for people who are unfamiliar with what just happened here, I'll undo and show this. So we made a list in here. If you're unfamiliar with regular expressions, it is definitely a worthwhile thing to learn. I find that they can be incredibly useful. The running joke, though, is the moment you solve a problem with regex, now you have 2 problems. But regexer, trying to remember this guy here. This is a wonderful library for learning and experimenting with regexes. But what I did here is by default, this thing is going to match per line. It's not going to span multiple lines. And so the dot just means match any character, and the star just says match any number of characters. So this just swallows up each line. And then in the replacement pattern, $0 says grab the entire thing that this matched. So let me just do a little replacement and poof, write a bunch of code. So easy peasy. So I'm picturing something kind of like this, where this shows up, something akin to this, and then we've got a save button. Sort of what I'm thinking. We got a color picker, we got a pack icon. This thing probably needs some sort of like, I'm thinking this thing probably needs some sort of like text block at the top that's like generate icon .ico file, right? We'll make this obvious for people, just so that it's really clear what we're doing here. And actually, let's come here, typography. Let's do this in like this one here. Yeah, like a medium. That looks nice. Let's see. Style gets boom. So we'll do something like that. Okay, so let's lay this grid out of what I think this is going to do. I'm sort of picturing maybe this goes down here. And maybe this doesn't need to be a grid. Maybe this can just be a stack panel. What are you squawking about? Huh. That looks like a bug. The fact that the expander is squawking at me is not a valid value. I can't tell if this is a designer failure or if this is a legitimate bug. But let's see. So stack panel with some width. We got a title there. We're going to put the icon right at the top, I think. And I think what we're going to do here is let's do like a height of 30, a width of 30, and then let's just put it in the middle. So horizontal alignment center. So we'll put that guy up. And I think what I want to do is let's see, stack panel orientation horizontal. And I think I'm going to put these radio buttons right next to each other so that it's foreground, background. This guy should start checked. All right, this guy will come in here. We'll have a color picker. We'll have an expander. And all of these guys should really start in their checked state. So let's undo this and let's do is checked gets true. Whoop. Grab that. Auto code for the win. And then a save button at the bottom, but I think I want a horizontal alignment right. I want to shift that guy over. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Oh, this is not going to work with the demo app currently running. Turn that off. We'll see how this works. And let's see here. So icon pack. We got this little guy here. We might change that at some point. Let's bring you down. Let's see. So, we should pick an icon. So we should probably disable that. There's foreground, there's background. This is not the color picker I thought I was getting. My expander works the way I would expect. Let's see. Let's see. So this guy's header needs to be resolutions, sizes. What did the Wikipedia page call them? Resolutions. Image size. So we'll just do image sizes. Do that. Let's see here. So something akin to that isn't bad. And then a save button on the end that should go and do something. So a couple things I'm noticing. I want a little bit bigger size on my icon. I want a little spacing between those radio buttons. So we're going to do a little bit of margin here. Something like that. So that's pretty good spacing there. We'll come over here. We're going to do a little bit bigger here. So let's do like 40 by 40 and see how that looks. And then also let's throw a little bit of a margin around it just to give it some space. Yeah, that looks a little nicer. Though I am wondering if maybe I should just kick this thing over to the side here. We might do that. We might just kick this icon up. We'll see how this goes. The color picker now, I clearly grabbed the wrong thing. Where is radio button, color picker? I want the, I don't see what I am looking for. Uniform grid, secondary selection. So let's just start collapsing these things. Primary mid selection. Don't care about you. Selection controls. Current scheme label. Okay, so these are all just the resources up here. So where is color picker section? Custom is checked. Boolean to visibility converter. So this is the custom side. This is bound to color picker. Wait. I am confused. Color tool. I want this thingy, not this thingy. So it's the thing above it. Grid, dock panel. Items control swatches. Something is amiss. Why am I not finding what I expect to find? So this guy here is the color picker. Oh, is there a different style I need to apply to it? That's just the... Huh? Color picker. So I have this guy, and I have this guy. Both of these are awesome color pickers. We should probably allow typing in a hex value too, because nothing is more frustrating than having a designer that has handed you, ooh, we got a lot of bind failures. Nothing's more frustrating than when your designer gives you a hex value and it's difficult to use. That should be easy. So this is the material design palette. So this is all of that. So this is all that is up there. Why am I missing it? Oh, is it because it doesn't have size allocated to it? Is that the issue? That it just needs more, because I slapped it into a, let's do this, min height 100. Ah ha 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 ha. That is the problem. The thing needs a better minimum height. We might go fix that on the control. I think there should probably be some min height set by default. so that that doesn't happen. That also implies that now I've got this little bit of an issue here. So let's do a little bit of a vertical margin. So nothing there, but a little above and below would be nice. See how that looks. That's a little bit nicer. Yeah, so now we can do this maneuver here. Right? So that'll work, but what we need to do is actually change this. So how do we want to go about doing this? So based on which radio button is selected, we want to change the background of this image. Right? And I think, let's see. So we want to be able to change that guy. I'm thinking we probably should set up a bit of a view model to play with here, because we're already bound here and here. I'm just trying to decide what the easiest way is to go about doing this. I think setting up a style on this guy with some triggers to toggle the color binding probably makes the most sense. Is that true? Probably. So let's give this guy a name. Let's see. Icon foreground. Sure, we're going to go with that for the moment. So if we do that, yeah, so let's expand this guy out here. And we will do material design color picker. Nope. And I want to set a style. And close that guy, and we'll generate a new style. Let's see, target type, material design. Hey, okay. I can't type. Copy and paste sounds great. And then we want to base this on the default style that was being applied there before. So by default, styles always have an implicit key of the target type. And that is getting really hard to read with all of this stuff open. So we're just going to start collapsing some stuff down. There we go. Now we can see what we're doing. Let's see. Format that. So we're going to do some triggers now. So let's do a trigger. We will do a data trigger with a binding. The binding is going to look at icon foreground. Let's see, and it will look at the isChecked property. And if that value is true, we are going to set the color property of our control to a binding that looks kind of like this. That'll be a starting point. But it's actually going to change it on, let's see, let's give this guy a name. Xname. It's weird because I want to call this icon, but we're using a pack icon. How about selected icon? Whatever, we'll work with it. So let's see. So this is going to be element name selected icon, and more importantly, this is going to be bound to foreground. Now we may, trying to remember this color property, if it's a color or if it's a brush. It's a color. That's exciting. I think I can get away with this. I don't remember exactly. But let's go up here. So what we also want is we now want the else case as well. We want this to be background color. We may end up needing to set some foregrounds and backgrounds on here. I don't remember. So let's do that. I don't know if this is if the edit and continue is gonna work for me here. If I do background, whoop, foreground, it's not adjusting. So we're gonna restart because I don't have a lot of faith in the edit and continue to keep up with all those changes. The hot reload stuff inside of Xaml is really great, but there is a limit to how much it can keep up with. Okay, so let's go. We got to pick on one, right? Not seeing you change. Seeing a lot more binding failures. Oy vey. Let's see, combine duplicates. Cannot save value back to source. Target element is color, invalid operation because it is in a read-only state. Okay, so it is. So we're gonna have to do a brush converter, and let's see, brush color to brush converter. That's exactly what I want. One of these thingies. Yeah. It's almost like we've done this before. So let's see. Do we already have this guy? Oh, we want this one. Do we already have that guy referenced? We don't here. Let me just check and see, because some of the converters are registered globally, which isn't a great practice, but okay, maybe not. Maybe we got rid of them all. Cool. So we will go converters. Let's see, color to brush converter. I usually just name them to match because that keeps everything nice and simple. There we go. So now we've got one of those guys to play with. Now we come down here. We'll put it before the delay, I guess. Converter, static resource, color to brush converter. Same thing down here. Slap that guy in. Let's give that another shot. We are eventually going to need to bind this into something in our view model, but this will just let us play with it for now. Icon pack. Oh, we got to pick on one. Should probably disable that. Does not appear to be working. Grumble, 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 grumble. Background. Let's see. I can't find my binding windows. Boom, that button. Don't see it there. It's getting hot in my office. Whew. It is no longer winter time. Okay, well, let's just bite the bullet and go and update this view model, I guess, because we're going to end up needing that anyway. So let's just... Oh, so coolest thing in the world. So for anybody who hasn't seen this yet, so if you've got... I'm not entirely sure which version of Visual Studio. One of the latest previews. If you go down into your preview features, if you come down in here... There is this XAML preview features to improve Mvvm productivity. This box you want to go turn on. This is cool. Let me show you. So there's a couple magical things that it does. So one, you'll note this thing already has the design time data context, right? So we're gonna get rid of that for a moment because setting that up is kind of a pain. So let's imagine that you don't have the design time data context set. You'll note I got the little triple dots, which means light bulb, or as I call it, the auto code button here, right? So we come up here. It will let you set the design time data context right from here, right? And you'll note it tries to guess a little bit, right? And it goes, hey, you're in iconpack.xaml. Maybe icon pack view model is exactly what you want. Why, yes, that is exactly what I would like. Boom. Done. But wait, it gets better. It gets better. Okay, we come down here, right? So for example, we've got these binding down here, right? So let's come up with some names for these things. So we're gonna get rid of this guy because that ain't working the way we want. Let's come down here because we are gonna need to change these. So rather than binding it here, let's pretend that we're gonna bind into let's see, how about generated icon background, right? So this is clearly a property. Oh, is it not going to do it for me? Where's the autocode button? Where's my autocode button? Hang on, let's come up here. Let's come up here and see if this will work. So let's see. If I do background, binding, and I do generated thingamabobber, right? Ah, so it just doesn't work in a... it doesn't pick it up inside of a style binding. That's disappointing. I will add feedback for that. But you'll note here, once again, see this? 3 little dots. Ooh. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta fix the size of my... something has changed the size of this. Anyway, 3 little dots there, right? So if I go autocode button, so control period, generate property. Huh? You'll note if I do that, whoop, boop, boop, and then we jump over to our, well, actually, shoot, we can just F12 on it now. Boom. It has gone through and it has generated up a property for me. And more importantly, it's even figured out that this is the appropriate way to implement the setter, seeing that, hey, hang on, we've got this view model base class. This is in my project. This isn't something special, right? The thing just got smart and went, oh, I see what it is, and it goes and adds it for you. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It can also do the same thing for commands as well. Though there was a piece of feedback I submitted before. It had trouble generating commands. Let's see if I can remember right. It would not generate the command in your view model if the command implementation was inside of your project. But it would work if your command implementation was coming from, say, like Mvvm Lite or similar. It would auto-generate those. So totally awesome. And now I actually want to test one more thing because I'm not sure if it works with converters. Let's see if this thing works with converters, because I'm curious if it can figure out converter. So if I slap a converter on here, brush, color to brush converter, right? I'm wondering if this thing will generate me up a brush, or see, it still wants to generate a brush. I'm wondering if I do... I'm sorry. Now I just got to test this. Value conversion, right? So you can specify source type is type of color, right? Target type is type of brush, right? And I'm wondering if that will be enough to have it figure it out. Let's compile because I want to give it the best chance of success, because I was told that this tool isn't just some simple logic, that it's actually using some heuristics to look at your code to figure out what the right thing is. And I kind of imagine that this is going to be like the XAML version of IntelliCode. it's going to be right most of the time, and when it's wrong, it's going to fail spectacularly. But let's see. I'm curious. So, will it figure out that what I actually want here is, come on, Visual Studio, that what I actually want here is a color property? That'd be cool. If it figures that out, that'd make me very, very happy. Visual Studio, what are you doing? Apparently crashing. Hello? I know compiling's a hard operation. What are you... Slack is doing something. Well, that's easy. There. Now Slack's not doing anything. Okay. This might be a case of... Yeah, let's just restart that program. Okay, we'll let you report the problem. You will note that I am running Visual Studio Preview. So occasionally bugs crop up. But in general, they are few and far between. I actually find that most of the time in my day-to-day work, I have no issue running the previews. I do have a secondary machine that I can always switch to if there is some major problem, but for the most part, I don't have enough problems that warrant switching. The occasional crash here and there, but I would like to think that the getting access to some of the latest stuff makes it worth it. Okay, so we were coming back down here, and we were going to see if the awesome little light bulb button could figure it out. Gathering suggestions. Gathering suggestions. It's gotta think pretty hard. Come on. Oh. So you cancel the first one, and so then it adds a second one. Naturally. Okay, so that thing's got itself figured out. Let's try this again. Create property. Oh, boo! I would love it. I'm guessing it just doesn't bother to take the converter into account. Still cool. Still cool. Not as cool as it could be. Not as cool as it could be. Okay, so we're going to do... That's fine. That's fine. We will work with it. Generated icon. Foreground. We'll do something like that. Something like that. And then we're going to go with generated item background. Same with this. We don't need the converter anymore on this side. We're just going to let it write the color out. And then this guy can convert on this side. So we will let it generate those properties for us because it is that level of cool. We will need to come and deal with this guy down here. And it is bothering me that I'm seeing this in the designer. I really wish there was a better way of debugging this. Okay. And let's just... No, background first. Okay, so navigate to property, and we're going to change some stuff up. Step 1. This needs to be a color. Right? Let's see. Auto code button for the win. That one. And this guy here should also be a color. That should be a color. That should be a color. And we're going to do some indentation and a little renaming. That was another piece of feedback that I had mentioned to the team as well, is that it would be really cool if it used like my settings in my editor config to figure out the proper naming for my properties and fields. Like, not a big deal because I'm just going to go through and rename these anyway, but it would be nice. It would be nice. Right? Okay. So we got that, and it built those up for me. That's cool. Let's generate, oh, I know. Let's actually see if it'll generate, since I mentioned it could do it. Let's see if it'll handle it. Command, let's see, binding, Save icon command. Will you figure it out for me? Huh. It found it. Interesting. I had a sample where that definitely did not work, and I wonder what it was. Okay, cool. So it just generated the command up for me because why not? So we've got that. We'll eventually want to get these sizes in, but I kind of want to just get this thing generating an icon with one size to start, and then we'll go from there. Seems reasonable. And then the other thing we need to do is add Nuget Package. So we were going to take advantage of this guy's icon library, this blue wolf icons, because they look like they have the API that we seek. So let's go here. I'm sorry, we want to browse these ones. We'll install this. It does mildly concern me that the last updated date was 2016. Just another library to go and update. Sure, we'll actually update this. I don't mind a minor revision rev, especially on something that's just going into the demo application. Okay, so what is your... Are you squawking at... Really? What is this? What is this? You were just happy a minute ago with it. I'm also noticing that... Wait, why is it not showing me... Did I not finish installing it? Install. Did I click off before it could finish? Packages that use the central package management should not define version. Oh, it's because right. So this is bad. So we shouldn't do this. We are using the centralized package management, which means we go up to here and we rev the version here, and then that fixes it. So it should then go and figure itself out, though it might have to unload and reload the thingamabobbers. So what that means, though, is then I want to come up here and put in blue wolf icons, and then I want this to be, let's see, 1.0.1. And then over here, what I want to do is copy paste, and this to be blue wolf icons. Oh, let's put you up one. And unindent. Everyone should be happy now. Let's see. You seem to be losing your mind on package restores. That's fine. And then nullable reference types is unhappy about the command implementation. Okay, so let's do a little cleanup back here. So we'll expression body that guy. Let's see. This guy looks a little weird without its curly braces. In general, if it doesn't fit on one line, I don't like doing my if statements without curly braces, but that's just preference. Okay, so this guy here is unhappy because we have nullable reference types turned on. But it did generate this up nicely for me, and we'll just use a discard here. We don't actually need it, and I actually prefer if my action methods are prefixed with the word on. Again, that's just personal preference. Okay, so let's start this thing up and make sure it actually still runs and that we get all the way into here. Because I'd like to verify that when we get into our execution delegate, Why did it resolve that at 1.0? Did we not? Oh, because I can't type. Because I typed 1.0. So if you are interested, there, let's see here. Nuget centralized package management. So let's see. Nuget centralized package management. So this is a feature. Let's see. So this is a feature that's kind of preview-esque, right? Yeah, this thing here. Yeah, so this is a where is this thing? This is not quite the same. There's a lot of discussion here. I was hoping to find a better docs page for this. But this guy here, I'll just link to the issue. This gives you a lot of the same benefits that we got when we were using Packet in terms of managing your dependencies. So the big drawback here is there is zero Visual Studio GUI support for this at all, right? Outside of that little error message that we saw, there's pretty much nothing. But the key thing is you get this directory package.props file that you can put in all of the Nuget packages that you're using, and more importantly, specify your versions all in one place. And then inside of your projects, the projects just declare which of those Nuget packages they're using. And that's it. And you're done. And it just works. It's great. Like I said, the big drawback being you don't get a clean UI experience. So if you're really attached to being able to right-click manage Nuget packages, this is not the solution for you. Okay, so let's go and look and see what we did. Icon pack. So we'll pick an icon, hit this guy. Well, that's changing the background, so that tells me I did it backwards. Or I bound everything to the background, and that's exciting. So if we hit save, I want to see generated item foreground is not set, background clearly got a value. So we bound the wrong stuff. So that's background and foreground. This is background and background. So this should really be foreground. So if this goes here, continue. So this guy here, if I go foreground, so aside from needing a good default value, looks like it's working. That's pretty cool. I'm a little surprised with horizontal alignment center that the thing still spanned the entire thing. See how that does. Yeah, I'm a little surprised this is spanning given that I told it not to. That's actually kind of okay for the moment because I think what I actually want to do is wrap this guy in a border anyway. So we'll let the border handle the positioning. And also we're going to have the border handle the visibility. Because I'd like this thing to be a little more obvious when there's... No, actually I want the visibility to stay here. Because I'm going to do, let's see, border thickness of 1... border brush, let's see, binding. How do we want to go about doing this? I think what I want to do is just bind the foreground color, I think is what we want. And so that, I don't remember the theme brush that I want for that. But that will be under the window theme. So what did I set the... So I want to use the body brush. just so that there's a little bit of there, and then something like a corner radius of 4, and then maybe a padding of 2 along the inside. Not a lot, just enough to give it so that we can tell where the icon is and where the icon isn't, right? Let's see. Oh, and we did not set any alignment on this guy, so that kind of makes sense. So let's do horizontal alignment. Center. Still a little shocked. Oh, this guy has a margin of 10 specified around him. This margin needs to move off of here and up to here. All right, because we do want some space around the icon, but we want it... Yeah, so why is that guy spanning? It may not matter much. Actually, because I think what I want anyway is... I think I'm going to move it with up inside of this. Yeah, because if we put it inside of here... Oh, wait. Oh, got it. This thing has a width of 400, not 40. That would probably make a big difference. Let's indent that so it's a little more obvious where all the thingies are. Why are you indented so far? You should not be indented so much. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's better there. And then I want to bring this guy down. Vertical alignment center. And there, that looks a little better. So now we can adjust that. I might even go a little bit further. Okay, we're going to ditch this stack panel. Let's do a grid inside of here. So let's see, grid, column definitions. Let's see, I want one column to fill. I want the second column to be auto, and then I want 2 rows. Let's see, row definitions, and I want both of these to just size to their content. So we'll do auto there, put 2 of those. So this guy here, I don't think I need this quite yet. So grid, let's see. So column 0 will be the default, row 0 will be the default. He's already where I want him to be. This guy here is not. I want him to be, let's see, grid column 1. And I would like him to grid row span of 2. Right? And then this guy here, I would like to move inside of my grid. And I would like this stack panel to be grid row 1, grid column 0. All right, so that now lays out a little bit more like that. That feels a little bit nicer, I think. I think we can now drop that margin, because I don't think we need quite as much space around it. Yeah, I think I'm going to put a little bit of the margin back, but I think I'm more interested in 0. So let's see, left, top, right, bottom. I'm just interested in pushing it off the edge of that pop-up just a little bit. Yeah, that looks a little bit nicer. That looks a little bit nicer. Now we've got... We still need to give ourselves some way to type in hex codes. Should be nice. But we've got all the makings of what we need. Okay, so let's actually build some logic for this. So in our view model, let's go back to their docs page, because they have very conveniently given us exactly what we need. So step 1, var save dialog gets new save dialog. So we need to add some stuff on there, but if save dialog, let's see, show dialog, which is a nullable boolean, if it let's see, if it's not true, we'll just break, right? So if they cancel or just clear out of it, whatever, abandon all hope. Otherwise, we're generating an icon. Okay, so let's see here. So we want the blue wolf icon stuff. I would like, let's see, this is Windows Media Image, so we'll bring that in. Okay, so we need ourselves, they want a bitmap source for this. And I think, yeah, so I think what we're going to do is we're just going to take our visual and use it. So we're going to get rid of that for a moment. And I think I'm going to change this up. So this guy here, I think what I actually want to do is just actually pass in this pack icon. No, maybe we'll just create our own. We've already got all the data we need, and then I can leave. Then I don't have to worry about this guy. We'll just make our own. So we need to convert. So for people who haven't done this before, I usually have to look it up. Let's see, Wpf Visual to brush or something. There's a Wpf Visual to bitmap, because you can create a bitmap from a visual. That's mostly what I'm wanting. Okay, so something. Render target bitmap. This is what I want. So I want to do this. So render target bitmap. Let's see, bitmap, and it wants a visual. And then you'll note this guy here can be used as a bitmap source. So this is the magic sauce that we want. Okay, so let's grab this. So render target bitmap, we'll go with that. So what we need here is any bitmap source will be accepted. Excellent. That is exactly what we want. So we don't care about any of this stuff, right? We want to feed it that, but then more importantly, we need to give this guy a visual. So let's do target type new, because we've got C#9. So var pack icon gets new pack icon, right? And then based on what we have above, we know that our kind will be pack icon kind. We'll just grab that. Kind gets that. Background gets new solid color brush of generated icon background. Let's see, and foreground gets new solid color brush generated item foreground. All right, so that gives us that. And then we need a resolution size. So I think for now what we're going to do is we're just going to do 256. Right, so what are these things? Pixel height, pixel width, DPI. Yeah, so we're just going to go standard DPI 256 by 256. And then we are going to render the pack icon into here. The last thing, well, we're going to give this a shot here real quick. And this guy becomes, let's see, save file, or save dialog, like file path, right? File name. Great. Something like that. Let's see. Let's set up just a couple itty bitty little things here. So Let's see. Default extension is going to be .ico. Let's see. The title will be save icon. Let's see. We should probably have a filter set icon files, and I'm doing this from memory. .ico, so I am very likely to get this wrong. All files star trying to remember what else is important to set on these things. Let's see. Like to confirm that the path exists. I don't want to think too hard. Oh, overwrite prompt, definitely. We want to warn them of that. I don't know what this library is going to do if you feed it an existing file. Restore directory. I would very much appreciate it if you would remember where I was last time. Okay, something like that. Let's see if it works. Just like that, we might have a nice way of generating icons for our apps. Okay, so let's see. Icon pack, something like this. Pop this guy open. So we're going to set our foreground to red, our background to blue, right? We should probably have some better defaults, but that'll be good enough. So here we go. The one thing I do wonder about if we're going to have to, sure, test. Okay, I do wonder if we're going to have to force this thing to render because he hasn't been measured or laid out. Yeah, I kind of wonder if we're going to have to do that. Kind of wonder. Well, we're going to see what it does. Okay, so let me go grab that directory. Let's see here. Where did it go? Something documents. I don't remember where it went. So let's see here. Save. Let's grab a breakpoint further down. I don't feel like chasing it. Oh, it's D:. I'm in the wrong. There. So let's see if I open this with let's see, paint.net, or actually Visual Studio can open them. So if I just drag you into Visual Studio, we get a large 256 by 256 thingy, but he's a bitmap. Okay, so let's go through and make sure that this guy gets measured. Is it update layout or let's see, measure available size. So I believe what we want is let's see, 256, 256. I think measure might be sufficient. So let's restart and try this one more time. I'm trying to remember the exact. There's a special invocation when you have UI elements that you're creating manually. Let's see, icon pack, and pick one. See there, background, save. Save. So I just deleted the file because I didn't want to I wanted to make sure we didn't have any issues. Now, if I did that, have you been laid out? You haven't yet. So let's just play around with this. So pack icon. If I do update layout, pack icon. There's a magical incantation, and I don't recall what it is. They are not using it here. From visual to bitmap. Render target bitmap, drawing visual. Yeah, that's not quite the same. How to get bitmap from a visual? Because most of the time people are doing this with visuals that they've already laid out. Right, so you'll note, see, this guy here is taking in a visual, but I want to instantiate and force layout. All right, so once again, render target bitmap, but in this case, this is actually leveraging it's sizing to 0 because the pack icon doesn't require a size. So if I do pack icon dot width gets 256, right? And then pack icon height gets 256, right? And then we check it. And then we do pack icon update layout. Then we check it and see. Let's do this guy too. One of these things. Give me another update layout. I'm hoping to see these with the actual size things change. That is not overly helpful. Let's see. Wpf render target bitmap. Let's see. Force visual layout. Something to that effect. Yeah, this looks more right. Measure arrange update layout. Okay, so if we do, so let's start with that. Measure pack icon dot arrange new rect 0 0 256 256 boom boom like that, and then we do another update layout. Then when we investigate you, huzzah, you have a size. Cool. So this guy should render now. We'll let that go. I will come back over to my folder and I will just drag it into Visual Studio. And as you can see, it clearly rendered an empty string. That is totally exciting and not quite what we were going for. That is definitely not what we were looking for. Not black. But now that we've got that, so let's add these things in because we do know several things that I missed. So how about we wrap this guy up in a nice little method. Render image int size, right? Because we're going to end up doing this in a loop for all the different sizes. So I kind of want to do, okay, stop for a minute, We'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, so width gets size, height gets size, right? And then this guy should also be size, no semicolon there. Let's see, measure, arrange. This becomes a rectangle. Start at the origin and arrange with size, and then let's see, pack icon, update layout. That goes like that. And then I am wondering if this pixel format is problematic. So let's see. So we're going to come up here. Var bitmap gets render image at 256. Right? And actually, let's do 128 just to start. And this guy down here should return the bitmap. And you are happy, because ideally we start building each of these up. So this guy here, let's see, what is this generate map? Transparency map or not? We're going to leave that off for the moment. Oh, it defaults to true. So that's okay, sure, fine. Original image gets set. Bits per pixel. I do wonder what this is being set to. I hope 32, because if it's not, I think this might need to just be BGR. It doesn't. Let's see if it says back on the file format. What is 32 bits of color depth? So it definitely needs 32 bits. Are specifically a 24-bit image with the addition of an 8-bit channel for alpha. Thus, 32-bit images and the mask are not required, but recommended. Okay. It doesn't say BMP format. It must call that out. Let's look real quick. I was going to use BMP file format. Let's just give this a try. It's probably just as easy to test this out here and see what happens. Okay, fire this off, and I'm going to put one more breakpoint after this guy, and I don't think we need the prior one. I do actually want to verify that before we render it, that this guy now is appropriately showing our size. Icon pack. Boom. Oh, we got to pick one. Going with the cowboy again. And background. Save. And delete file. Save. Okay, so pack icon. Did you render a size? You did. Oh, but we are dumb. I did not finish updating all of these to be the appropriate size. Let's try this one more time. like all of you to be the right size. And we went down to 128 just to make sure that it's not something funky with the higher 256 value. Okay, so cowboy there, foreground, background, save, test. Okay, pack icon should have laid out properly, which it did. It's got stuff set on it. We're going to turn this off for now. Run through here. BGR32 not supported for this operation. I'm sorry, really? That is interesting. Render target bitmap. That's interesting. So let's just look here and see what. So pretty much it's got one option. You can do default, or you can do RGB 32. Okay, so that is exciting. So that is clearly not the answer to our woes. So we will put that on there and switch it back, because that is the choice. Just checking to make sure there was nothing weird that I missed, but it doesn't look like it. Okay, so let's go here and we are going to try again. So we'll do that, save. Okay, so if we look here, what is the format? Bits per pixel is 32, which would appear to be what we expect. Oh, I wonder. So this, let's see what this thing does with this image. So it uses this to get out some stuffs. But I'm wondering when it calls get data, what does it do? So it does do a bitmap source. Yeah, this is what I was wondering if I needed to do the encoding, but it appears that that might be good enough. It looks like it's going to handle it for me. And let's see, generate transparency map. Well, we're going to let this go, and if this fails again, we might end up. Okay, so bring it into Visual Studio and black square, this time smaller. Okay, so I'm kind of curious to do false on this and just turn off that transparency map for the moment. Because I'm wondering if that is causing me more harm than good. So go here, something like that, save. So you delete it, save. Just see what happens. And then bring that in. So it wrote it at half the size, which is interesting and almost assuredly wrong. Okay, so something is going wrong here. I'm somewhat inclined to also do a just for my own sanity, BMP. I want to write this out to just a regular bitmap. And if we look here, they have the code right down here to do it. Ba-ba-bum. So I want to look at this. So turn that off for a minute. BMP, do that. Let's see. Using file gets file open. Let's see here, and we want to do. Let's do save file dialog file path plus dot test dot bitmap, right? File mode. So blow that thing away. Write that into file. Right. Let's see. Stream. Because I do want to see if the issue is around writing the icon file or around the bitmap data. So we're gonna just test that real quick because I haven't actually used this library before, so I'm not 100% confident that I'm not just using it wrong. So we're gonna get rid of that and save. We should end up with 2 files now. Okay, so we can bring this guy over here. So if we open up bitmap, okay, so the issue is with our bitmap data, render target bitmap, not with the icon file. Because the bitmap itself, it's just a bunch of black data. Right. So what did I miss? What did I miss? We set the height, the width, the background, the foreground, the kind, right? All of those are set. Kind, background, foreground, width, height. All of those valid. Okay, is there anything on the default style that might do something? Let's see, because pack icon. Nothing in there strikes me as obviously problematic. Oh, I forgot that I didn't need to put a border around it, that it's got an internal border. Totally spaced that. We can go and fix that real quick. So we can come over here and do that. We can do this. Do you also have a... Doesn't allow for a corner radius to be set on it, though. We'll leave it as is. Leave it as is for now. I do wonder how many people are actually using that border on it, or if we should consider flattening the visual tree a little bit and dropping that out of there. Might be a worthwhile thing to consider. It'd be a nice performance boost because pack icons get used everywhere. And a simple answer of telling people wrap it in a border if you want those properties back. That's probably... I'm going to log that real quick. There's a list of potential breaking changes for 5.0 that I've been documenting. Edit. Let's see. Flatten pack icon. Let's just look at what its base class is. Huh. That's interesting that it has it on there and yet doesn't. I'll have to think about that. I won't log that yet. That'll be worth considering. Okay, but we still have the issue of we are not rendering an appropriate pack icon yet. So despite the fact that we've clearly set this, I do wonder if, oh, it's not getting the default template. That is a problem. So the implicit, the property that's not being set on this control here is what's coming in from here. Pack icon, right? That's the key property that's not being set. So we need to get ourselves access to one of those guys. Or alternatively, we just pass this thing in. Trying to decide. The problem with passing it in is I actually want to go through and do this at a bunch of different resolutions. So I kind of want to clone the thing rather than passing one in every time. How about, can I just do style get, this is, let's see, app, current, find resource, type of pack icon. And then hardcast to style. Let's give that a shot. I don't know if that's going to give me quite... It should work. So when you do a find resource call, whether you do it on the app or on any UI element, it will inherently go walking up the hierarchy looking for those. So if we get to my breakpoint without blowing up, that'll be a pretty good sign. I want to blow away the bitmap too, just to make sure everything's dead. Let's see, save. Okay, so it did get the style set, which is good. I want to make sure there is a template being applied. Come on, scroll. Scroll Visual Studio, scroll template. There is a control template now. Okay, so if we do that. Okay, so let's see what happens if we look at our bitmap. Ah, bitmap has color now. Mwahahaha. Ah, icon file. Boom. Booyah. Okay. Now we're cooking with fire. Now we are cooking with fire. So let's do... Okay, so that works. So that's better. Okay, so let's just start... Let's just see if we can gen one of these things up, and we need to get the sizes. What is going to be the easiest way to get a list of sizes? What is the best way to do it? Because I have a list of checkboxes. You know what we could do? We could just throw away the sizes altogether and just generate the, yeah, MVP. Here's MVP, right? We will, MVP is throw away the expander altogether. Boom, done. And we will, hold on, we do want this list though, 250. So let's go and write these out. So let's see. To do make this configurable. See, there we go. For each var size in. Okay, so we're just gonna start at the top. 256, 128, and let's just grab them all. 64, 48, 32. I'm gonna just put you on the side here for a moment. Stay there. Okay, so I need to close that window so it's not sitting on top. And then 64, 48, 32, 24, 16. All right, because in most cases, you probably just want an icon with all the stuff in it. Right? The only reason why you don't want all the things in it is file size. Boom. And that gives us that. And if you want to delete items out, it's very simple. Like Visual Studio makes it very easy if you want to go through and whoop, drop one of these things. Right? Delete image type. Unable to delete the last image. It doesn't let you delete the last one. It wants one in there. So we're going to leave that for now. We got rid of the file rendering bits. We don't need this. Make this size list. We'll be a little more explicit. We don't need that. That's pretty darn obvious. Let's launch. And then away we go. So the good news is the library works as long as you feed it good data. Who would have thunk? Okay, so if we come in here, we're going to set the foreground to red. Background, we'll go with a green, right? Bright green. We did not delete image sizes out of our Xaml because I left them there, which was bad. Boom. Now they're gone. So that's there. Save. And we come in here, we delete this. I'm just going to make sure we actually get rid of all of it. Clear that out, and we will call it test icon again. And it generates me a new test icon. Bring this guy in. Hooey. This is kind of a big icon file. I am realizing it's nearly a meg. Hello, Visual Studio. Oh, it doesn't want to open it while debugging. Bet you that's part of the problem. Hello? Is there a problem here, Visual Studio? Why do you not wish to load my icon file for me anymore? Oh, there it goes. I didn't just drop it over on my file list, did I? Doesn't look like it. So let's see. We got 128, 128, 128, 128, 128, 128, 128. So we generated it, and this is what happens when you make an iterator and then don't use it appropriately. So we should do that. So that theoretically, and the key part here is because we're going to generate a new pack icon at a different size and rerun it through the render target bitmap, it's going to re-rasterize it at each resolution, which is what you want. That way you get your best quality. Let's see, so there. Here, let's do green on blue. Go something like that. Blue cowboy. Okay. We're going to see what happens when we hit save. No, not what I wanted. Thank you. Come over here. Boom. So now we've got a 256, 128, 64, 48, 32, 16. Now we've got something we can use as our app icon. That's what we were looking for, right there. Booyah. How big is this? 700K. So not tiny. Not tiny. So we may want to make that list configurable. But for an MVP, I'm rather happy with this. Okay. So we should probably change up the way this looks because this does not look inviting. Let's do something like export. I'm looking for like the box with an arrow or, yeah, file export. This looks good. So we're going to use this icon for this button here, right? So something that often trips people up is how do I change that icon for my pack icon, right? Because all we did here, right, we just did pop-up box. And what you're looking for is the pop-up content. And what we can do is material design, pack icon, kind of file export. Boom. And now we've got that thing unhappy with me. Let's try again. There were build errors. Oh, I set the wrong property. It's not the pop-up content. It is the, what is it called? The, oh boy, I can't remember the name of it. Show it to me. There is toggle content. Something content. Toggle content. Boom. Let's try that. Icon pack. There we go. It's a little tiny. Kind of want that bigger. I really wish there was an automatic. So ReSharper has a cool button that will automatically convert this to an element. And I really, really wish this thing would have it. Let's see. So we're going to do this. I'm going to go with pack, icon, kind, file export. All right. So this is equivalent to what we just had. But what I would really like to do is start changing width to be, I don't know, 40. Height, 40. How does that look? That's a little big. That's a little big. We want it to be obvious, but we don't want it to be that obvious, right? And let's throw a tooltip on this guy. So how about tooltip export icon or export pack icon as icon file .ico. Boom. So now we've got that. Sweet. Now I think the one thing I'd love to do is start it off with a little bit better default coloring. Right? That would be a little bit nicer. Trying to decide the easiest way to go about doing that. Because right now when you open this guy up, it's not set. It's a little obnoxious because both of these colors here just have a default color of garbage, and it would be nice to get a little bit better stuff. Oh, let's clean that up a little bit. So let's do some theming work, I think. This will leave at least a good example for people who want to know how to do theme stuff, I guess. So this guy is coming in from here. Let's just do it in here. Because we really want to get ourselves a theme manager. So there's a so I'll think out loud here. So there's a static class called Pallet Helper, right? Where you can go var helper gets new Pallet Helper, right? And this guy will give you access to things like get theme. Oh, it also has get theme manager. That might be sufficient. Yeah, let's just go that route. Get theme manager. Boom. And this guy actually wants to be nullable, so fine, whatever. But the whole reason why I want to get the theme, so how about let's if is not null theme manager, right? Because what I would really like to do is get a hold of the theme manager and know when the theme has changed, because I would like to automatically set the background and foreground based upon theme changes, right? Boom. So we're going to do that. Apply. And then I think what we're going to do is just give ourselves a method down here that's something like private void set default icon colors, right? So just so it can look a little prettier. So then we're going to come up here. This guy's sole purpose is going to be when the theme changes, right? Call that method. And then up here, we're just going to do the same thing, right? And we're going to grab that guy. And yeah, this way we can have an example, because people often ask how to handle theming changes in their app. And so this will be somewhat of a reasonable example. In general, I don't necessarily like this static helper. I would prefer to get access to the theme manager higher up and use something like dependency injection to pass this guy around to the relevant places, but this will work. This will work for the quick and dirty. So var helper gets new Pallet Helper, and I just want to confirm, I'm pretty sure, if my memory is correct, Pallet Helper's constructor is not doing work, right? Yeah, he doesn't do anything. It's just when you call stuff. So then we want to get the theme off of him. Let's see. If helper get theme, right? I believe this guy is, oh, he's non-nullable. Interesting. Oh, because he's going to instantiate a new one every time. Excellent. So we will do I theme gets helper get theme. Excellent. And then from here, we're going to just do something like generated icon background gets. So what should the background be? I think the background should probably just be like theme. The background color for the theme. But I'm thinking the foreground should be like the primary color, right? As a default, right? Theme, primary mid, maybe. Yeah. Let's go with that for the moment. See how that comes out, because I think that'll be a little bit nicer. That way you can pick up the icon pack. Pick on this guy. Yeah, so that's a little bit nicer. Surprised the background. Is background the right brush? Or is it paper? I think paper is actually what I want, not background. I'm fairly confident background's an old brush. It may have been deprecated. I am also noticing that other library is coming through as not necessarily core compatible. Clearly it works, but I'm not overly concerned given that WPF only runs under Windows, so it's not a real big deal to me. Yeah, that looks a little better. The white border, right? And so then if I do this, the theme has changed, right? If I go here, that guy automatically updated, right? And if I go something like change my palette, change my primary color to orange, if I go back to my icons now, right? Icon pack, right? If I pop this guy open, he should show me that. Oh, I just realized. Oh, did that? Oh yeah, good. That's why we used the theme brush, so that it would be. Do that. Booyah! It just works. And then if people want to change it, they are free to do so. And I think a nice feature would be to add in like an RGB picker, let people type it in or something. Maybe right down here, whatever. Keep this thing nice and tight, and then also give that size picker. But for now, I think that meets MVP. And let's take a quick look at what we did. So a value converter on the brush makes sense. We did a whole bunch of changes in the view model. So we brought in the theme manager, set the default icon colors, right? Fix the curly braces there, lambda bodied member there, curly braces there, whole bunch of stuff here. So set default colors just pulls this. We'll go bigger. Come down here. So let's see. So we got the properties, we got the command implementation. That looks fine. Our save icon, pretty confident in, given that we've done this a few times. That builds it up, runs it through the list. That works. Our Xaml, we did a lot of fun stuff with, so some white space cleanup. Then our pop-up box, which is great. This guy here, we just brought in this blue wolf icons for now. I may poke around to see if there's another one that's already core compatible. It's such a simple format. I'm half tempted to write it myself. I just don't want to write another Nuget package when I'm sure there's plenty out there. It's really hard to search for icon library that doesn't end up on something not generating ICO files. So if people have a nice one that they use, shoot me a message, leave me a comment. Would really appreciate it. So we also rev virtualizing wrap panel to 153. That's the panel that's actually used on the icon page, so we've kind of already tested it. Perfect. So adding icon generator to the demo app. Boom. Take that, push. I'm going to push it to my fork and then pull request it. So we come over to pull requests. Hello. There we go. I was too quick on the draw. Okay, so we'll bring that in. This is going to make the next release because I deemed it so. This is a demo app, and it's definitely an enhancement, and I want to make sure this gets tagged in the release notes. So let's see. Adding in functionality to the demo app to create .ico files from the pack icons. Poof. So that sounds great. And assuming that all passes the CI system, we will let that go. One of the other things that I've been wanting to do is start to convert over the Azure DevOps pipelines that I've built into GitHub Actions. So that may end up being a stream for next time as far as going through there. 4.1.0 is starting to get a few items in here, so I may be looking to kick a release here in the not too distant future. There's a few minor things, but there was a whole bunch of bugs and issues that got logged this week, some of which should probably get cleaned up. So given that people are clearly now playing with the 4.0 release and putting it through its paces, I'm going to see how many of these things we can take care of, and then probably look to kick the 4.1 release. The other thing that I was aware of, if anybody wants some easy tasks, the material design components button. I realized that if we look at the buttons here, right? So they've got only a handful of buttons. They've got text button, right, which is what ours calls a flat button. They've got outline button, right, contained button, toggle button, right? So what I was hoping to do is go through and create additional styles that use these names, right? I don't want to delete the existing ones because that would be a breaking change, but I would like to start using styles that match the material design spec names just to make it a little bit easier for people going back and forth from the material design page and this library, to make it a little bit easier so that if you see something over here, same name applies and vice versa, right? Obviously that there's not a perfect one-to-one comparison in a lot of cases, just with the way the WPF controls have to lay out, but button's pretty simple. And it'd be great to have some styles added that just use these names. So I'm picturing like material design text button instead of what we call flat button or similar, right? So if somebody wants an easy pull request in, that would be something. I may poke at doing it. And once that goes in under the 5.0 changes, I'll end up listing out the old styles that are going to get obsoleted, right? So there's certain things that I've already flagged as obsolete in the upcoming 4.10 release. And so just be aware that those things come 5.0 are going to get dropped. So my usual way of handling this is I just leave a list of stuff that I know I want to break in the next major rev. And so when it comes time to do that rev, I go and break it all at once. But I try to have a nice documented list. So anybody doing a migration, hopefully it makes your life a little bit easier. Oh, it failed. That's sad. Check failure. Oh, so it wants NU17.1. We can go and fix this. So for people unfamiliar with how to deal with this case, so this is the situation where a Nuget package doesn't meet or doesn't match your target framework, such as what we have here. And what we actually want to do here is if we come over here, there's a nice little thing where you can do suppress warnings. So all I did was right click on the package in question, hit properties, suppress warnings, and use 1701 is a fairly common one to say, trust me, I'm a programmer. Hey. There. And then what you should see over here in this guy is it'll add a little no warn attribute underneath your package reference so that you can see that, hey, this warning for this particular package has been suppressed. So 1701 is just the common one that says ignore the fact that it doesn't match the target framework moniker. I wonder why this thing's now showing me an error. Let's just rebuild and see. This could just be a designer issue. Again, the centralized package management is kind of a newish thing, and the Visual Studio UI sometimes gets a little bit confused. It obviously works, but sometimes the state of it doesn't seem like it's quite all there. Oh, we actually have some warnings here that I should probably address. Oh, so that needs to be changed there. Let's see here. Theme changed. So what is this guy here? Event handler. All right, so this guy is nullable. I think that fixes it. Let's just recompile that one more time and make sure that we see. I just want to make sure I see all my warnings go away. So it's worth noting too, on the pipeline, it turns on warnings as errors. So the idea being that people who want to contribute and just download and play with the library, turning on warnings as errors can be really obnoxious for somebody. It's like, I just want to make a quick and easy change. I don't want to deal with all of the extra stuff. However, by turning it on in the pipeline, one, it ensures that nobody accidentally turns it off on me. And two, it just helps maintain a slightly higher quality bar for pull requests. So just be aware if you see that happen. Don't feel bad. It happens to me all the time. So let's see. Fix the nullability warning. Fix the NU 1701. So let's see. Fixing build warnings. And we'll push that again. Then hopefully this guy will kick off and succeed, which would be great. So we come back here, and this guy should restart momentarily once DevOps sees the new commit. That's another reason is right now the build pipelines are sitting off in Azure DevOps, which is great, except for it's a little bit jarring to go from GitHub to DevOps. And given how quick and easy GitHub actions are, it would be very nice to just have everything in one place. And so that is my ultimate end goal, is to sneak it in there. This usually doesn't take too long. I just really want to see it get past the build step. It usually doesn't take it but a moment. And we'll see how. Come on, just compile. That's all I want to see. The other nice part about the centralized package management is it seems to restore a little quicker. That could just be my own perception, but it does seem like it goes mildly faster. Wow, I wonder why the restore on that project takes so long. Or maybe that is... Nope, I don't have an explanation. That one is slow. Same with the test projects, but the test projects make a little more sense because they're downloading several extra Nuget packages. The test runner, Xaml test, XUnit, and similar. So the unit test projects do have significantly more dependencies. Okay, so the thing compiled. So I'm going to go with this is probably going to work because I can't imagine we've got any tests that should break on this, and this will probably merge in shortly. But with that, I'm probably going to sign off for the night. Tell everyone happy coding. See everyone next time.